Hello and welcome. You're watching FYI. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. Now, today's program is going to be very fascinating, not just for the ladies, I can assure you that. Why? Because we are talking about gold hallmarking. Now, as of 15th of June 2021, jewelers across the country will now only be selling 14, 18 or 22 carat gold. This basically means that every piece of jewelry that you buy, it could be ornaments, it could be artifacts as well, it will have to be hallmarked, talking about its authenticity. Now, this rule had come in much earlier but had been delayed. The mandatory hallmarking was not done till the end of this year at least, or last time, just to keep COVID precautions in mind, but now it is in place. So what does it mean for your old jewelry? How can you make out an authentic hallmark from a fake one? Also, what about pricing? All of that is what we are going to tell you in our explainer. So first up, what exactly is hallmarking? Well, it's basically to understand very clearly, and it is just a purity certificate, which earlier used to be voluntary. Now it will be mandatory. It basically consists of a BIS mark, which is the Bureau of Indian Standards, which is kind of a triangle mark that comes on your jewelry, very tiny, but how it looks like I'll tell you on the program as well. But it also consists of cartridge that shows the purity. That means is it 14 carat, 18 carat, 22 carat, all of that is marked in. It also consists of AHC. Essentially, it's a marking center, and whoever is authenticating the hallmarking will leave their sign on your jewelry as well. Now, the deadline for September 1st had been put up for all traders to hallmark all their old stocks as well, and there will be no penalty until the 1st of September. Post that, there might be a fresh order. In fact, the original date for implementation was actually 15th of January, but the implementation was deferred, like I said, to June 15th due to COVID. Now, in India, 22,000 tons of gold is owned by households. Out of this, 600 tons is in jewelry production each year. And despite that, India being such a massive market, imagine, of gold, we have relatively very low percentage of hallmark jewelry. And this is what the new rule intends to change. So how exactly will it be beneficial for you? Well, this is to ensure that customers do not get cheated. This is to protect customers against low-coverage as well, enhance the credibility of gold. It should make doing business quite easy, because there will be a standard process now for all jewelers to follow, and this does not threaten the craft in India. In fact, it will help India become a leading gold market center in the world. And to achieve this, a number of AHCs or hallmarking centers have been increased as well. Increased to 25% from the last couple of years. This was said to be a major roadblock, remember, in trying to make hallmarking mandatory. But the million-dollar question here, how can you check and ensure that your jewelry is hallmarked? What separates a genuine hallmark from a fake one? Well, these are some of the things that you can check. When you go out to buy your jewelry, check for a hallmark sign. That will tell you, and in fact, like I said, we'll just bring out that graphics for you, which tells you how it looks like as well. Ask your jeweler for a BIS license. They are required to display it up front as well. Make sure that the address on the slip and the store, they correspond. You in fact can get your own jewelry hallmarked, checked as well, from taking it to a hallmarking center, and it comes with a very nominal fee. You can check the list of hallmarking centers at the BIS website. It also, interestingly, has a list of suspended hallmarking centers as well. So be mindful of that once you indulge in that activity. And remember the old-fashioned ways of testing gold? Well, you could put your gold next to a magnet. Well, if it is real gold, it does not attract and does not get attached to the magnet. And you can also put your gold into water, and if it should immediately sink, that means it's gold as well. In fact, to make this more clear, let's bring out, yes, this visual representation to tell you how exactly what are the markers to look out for when you're buying jewelry now. So there are 4 signs that you need to be mindful of. We'll begin with the BIS, or the Bureau of Indian Standards mark, that is denoted by that triangle that you see, that we've zoomed in for you on that ring. The other thing to note is the carat mark. In this you see 916. It basically goes on to tell you the carat it is holding, thus showing the purity of gold. Then you see those 4 semicircles put together. That's your AHC or hallmarking center mark. It at times has a number on it as well. And then there is also a unique identification that generally a jeweler might put on it. They might also put in the year in which they have made this jewelry. So that is something that you need to be watching out for. Take a quick screenshot to ensure that you have that handy next time you go out and buy your gold. Apart from that, what items need to be hallmarked and which ones don't, that's also been made clear in this new order. Now, jewelry will now be allowed to sell only with 14, 18, 22 carats for now. Jewelers with annual turnover of up to 40 lakh will be exempted. And export and re-import, however, of jewelry is also exempted. Jewelry for international exhibitions is also exempted. Jewelry for government is exempted, and approved B2B domestic exhibitions, there also your hallmarking is not required. Apart from that, fountain pens, watches, special type of jewelry, they don't need to be hallmarked. And other kinds of jewelry that you buy, that is kundan, polki, jarau, all of them are exempted from hallmarking as well. Also, after this order, a lot of confusion came in about what happens to your old jewelry. Well, jewelers can continue to buy back your old jewelry if that's your concern at this point. There should be no penalties till August end, certainly, but you can also ask for your old jewelry be hallmarked if feasible for you. Like we said, you can go to the BIS website and they'll have a whole list where you can pay a nominal fee and get your old jewelry hallmarked as well. Apart from that, it's not just gold, remember, which needs to be hallmarked. Even your silver jewelry and artifacts can be hallmarked now. In fact, should be hallmarked as the government suggests. All right, that was the explainer. Let's go across to our guest now. We've got Shrishti Sharma joining us. She's the founder director of Designers of India. We've got Nasir joining us. He'll give us a perspective on gold investment and how that's going to pan out post this. Surendra Mehta is with us. He's a National Secretary, Indian Bullion and Jewellers Association. We've got Nitin Khandelwal, former chairman of the All India Gems and Jewellers Trade Federation. And we've got Abhishek Kapoor also joining us. He's the director for Solitaire Diamond Boutique. All right, let me first bring in Surendra Mehta. Your first thoughts on what this landmark move is all about. For starters, it feels like it's going to make jewelry very standardized in the country. No more question mark over authenticity, but a proper hallmark to build in consumer confidence.
Well, Sonal, first of all, let me say that this mandatory hallmarking regime does not mean that jewelry in our country have not been sold in the pure format. They have always been, and in fact, most of the jewelers have always been buying back the jewelry which they already sold. Hallmarking is an authentication given by now the Bureau of Indian Standard, basically a Government of India organization. By just paying 35 rupees, a consumer is ensured that the jewelry he's buying is hallmarked. And he can verify the hallmark jewelry by visiting a cloud-based software system. There will be a 6-digit unique code number on the jewelry. He can just put in that code and he can just find out whether the jewelry is hallmarked or not, and whether it is hallmarked from which agency and which jewelers have hallmarked this. Okay. Basically, what all this mean is that there is going to be a level playing field between the big jewelers and the small jewelers. Now nobody can say I'm a big or I'm a small jeweler, I'm a big corporate jeweler, because even your street corner shop, jewelry shop will be selling the same goods what a big corporate or a big chain of store may be selling. So it's a win-win situation for consumer, definitely, and I think it's a win situation for the small jewelers, because they are going to be benefited as more customer will pour into their shop, because their operational cost is going to be lower than the big corporate shop. So I think consumer is going to be the ultimate winner in case of mandatory hallmarking.
All right, good to know that. So to put in an analogy for Delhi, the jewelry that you buy in Khan Market or jewelry that you buy in Purani Delhi will have the same standard hallmarking, which is a win-win for all, is what you're saying. Let me give in the next word to the only lady on the panel here. Shrishti, your thoughts on how this is going to go, and particularly if you could answer a question that comes to us very often: what about old heritage jewelry, which is a huge, portion of what all women in the country have now? What happens to that?
I think that is going to remain the same. It's not going to change anything in that, because the rules and regulations we have behind is going to be the same. Only the thing is that they have, I think in heritage jewelry is more about polki and jarau, and I don't think that is coming under BSI. So hallmarking.
Okay. All right, let me take in a word from Abhishek next. Abhishek, your thoughts? A lot of old jewelry which comes down through generations, not hallmarked earlier. But if you were to put it up for evaluation, will that, would you suggest your customers now to even get their old jewelry hallmarked?
Yes, exactly, Sonal. That's the entire crux of the matter. Suppose if any one of our customers bought some jewelry from us here in Kanpur and they were to be transferred to Bangalore, and God forbid if they had to sell their old gold jewelry for in terms of a panic situation, a financial crisis, then a jeweler obviously was clueless. The jeweler will never know by looking at a mere piece of jewelry what is the exact caratage of the jewelry. He would have to melt the jewelry. He would have to send it to a hallmarking center to get the assay report, a fire assay report, saying that yes, this jewelry is 22 carat or 22 carat, and then only a value would be put to it. But now, as the secondary market develops in India, once an ornament is hallmarked, then obviously with a certain level of certainty, a jeweler can say that yes, this jewelry is of a certain purity, and yes, this is the value for that jewelry. So that exchange scenario, the scenario to sell your old gold jewelry in a case of an emergency gets smoothened out. That entire process gets smoothened out.
Right. And what exactly is the process, if I can take that question to Mr. Khandelwal also next. In fact, Mr. Surendra Mehta, since he hasn't spoken yet, of how exactly does this entire process of hallmarking old jewelry work? Because I understand there will be a lot of apprehension of leaving behind jewelry for getting a hallmarked or going to a center. Does it happen within minutes, or do you have to wait for a couple of days? How does it work?
See, regarding old jewelry, you can't do right now because government is coming with the HUID, and in HUID you have to give the complete detail from where you buy, from to whom you are buying, and the complete entire chain is going to maintain. So there is no clarity on the old gold jewelry from the customer is possessing in his hand, because there are another committee is going to set in coming few days. That is a high level committee, and this committee has to find out the ways for the HUID and the other litigations in this matter and the process and everything, because there are some lacuna in this system and in this law, and that is government is agreeable, and we welcome hallmarking from 2008, and we are eagerly waiting as a All India Gem and Jewellery Domestic Council is also supporting the government to get it hallmark jewellery in entire India.
Right. When you say lacunas, what exactly are you pointing at?
See, old jewellery you can't get hallmark right now because HUID, you need to give the complete from where you bought, from whom you have sold, because and that all is getting smoother in the coming days, because the high level committee is going to set in coming few days. Okay.
So let's see. So more suggestions going in. You're saying there could be more norms coming into place when it comes to jewelry buying in the country. Let me bring in Nasir now. Nasir, interesting how this is going to impact pricing also, not so much for jewelry but investment in gold. How are you seeing that unfold because of this new law?
Hi, good evening, Sonal. I think this couldn't be a better time for kind of getting this in a more organized way, I would say this, because I think I'll give you certain data points which will make it more relevant for our viewers to understand. If you look at just pure data from current 2020, well, last year, and to the expected, in terms of production of gold, from probable reserves, Sonal, we are looking at current production is about 45 million approximately of troy ounces, right? I wouldn't want to get into very complicated numbers, but it's broadly 45, and it's expected to come down to sub 20 by about 2039, which obviously means that in the next 18 years, we will see a massive decline of gold reserves, right? Declining. Okay. One is that. The second thing also is, which is going to be further fueling up this issue, is that gold exploration budgets are also falling drastically from the larger miners of gold. If you look at the global data, you see a lot of exploration budgets are also coming down drastically. Now, the point being that when you have a commodity like this, which is, in itself, like petrol or like oil, it's the strongest form of commodity, and it's completely liquidable. I think, suggestions and improvements such as hallmarking, for example, will only add more fillip to the pricing. And when I say pricing, I just say that there was still a lot of areas where people were operating in, where they were going and buying jewelry, for example, where, they felt that there could be, not hallmarking available, there were credibility issues. And today, when you see more of these coming into play in terms of getting it more structured, Sonal, it will play up better in terms of price movements, not in the short term, but in the longer term. I think right now we're still too far away from, hallmarking getting executed per se, because it's only at 256 districts as we speak now in India. But I think the process is
but that's going to expand now.
Exactly.
Those districts are going to expand, and at the moment that list includes all major districts across the country, and there will be major centers for buying as well. So there is no sort of confusion on that. This will be a pan-India sort of rule very soon. Let's slip into a break now. When we come back, I want to address the issue of these hallmarking centers. They have been increased, but is it enough? We'll talk about that on the other side. Welcome back. We're discussing the mandatory hallmarking of gold jewellery in India now. That's the new rule. And also what it comes along with it, that until 1st of September, there will be no penalties on jewellers who do not have their stocks hallmarked. But post that, there could be one implemented. But when there is anyways not many hallmarking centers in the country, a 25% increase, yes, that's taken place. But do we have enough? Let me take that to Mr. Surendra Mehta. Your thoughts?
I think, see, the number of hallmarking center always dependent on the number of retailers which are prevailing across the country. But recently BIS authorities have done is that instead of making hallmarking mandatory at the last point of sale to the consumer, they are now making it mandatory at the point of first sale by the manufacturer. Now there are only 5 or 6 manufacturing hubs in the country, that is Mumbai, Calcutta, Rajkot, Coimbatore, and few more. So, and there are number of hallmarking center in these cities. So in fact, if you ask me, if there are no hallmarking required at the point of sale of retailers, then in fact there are more number of centers existing in the country. In fact, most of the hallmarking center which are not operating in the manufacturing area will have to shut down. So more hallmarking centers are only required in case there is a hallmarking mandatory at the final point of sale to the consumer.
Right. If I can bring in Mr. Khandelwal just for last closing comments over here, what exactly are the suggestions that you're giving back to the government at this point? You did say that according to you, and let me get that correct, you're saying no, your old jewelry, you don't need to rush back to your jewelers asking them to hallmark that as well. Your old heritage jewelry, there is no need of that because there might be more sort of norms and rules coming into play. Was that what you said? This is what people should stick to?
See, there are so many things in this committee is going to discuss. That first is the imprisonment, cancellation of the license. If you do not commit any mistake and mistake is done by the hallmarking center, and punishment is in the provision, there is a punishment to the retailers who has not manufactured and not certified getting done. Okay. So we have suggested that government has agreed upon. Then there is a responsibility. Who will be responsible? It is jewelry is not hallmarked properly or not, it is up to mark. Then who is responsible? Manufacturer, the center who has marked the hallmark, or the retailers. So there are so many things in that, in an infrastructure. If like Surendra Bhai told you, if it is coming into B2B, then there is no going to increase any hallmarking center in India. If there is no hallmarking center is increasing in India, then that part of the India is not going to be the hallmark district in coming days. Because government had decided the mandatory hallmark is only mandatory in the district having the hallmarking center. जैसा कि अगर कोयम्बतूर से और राजकोट से पूरी ज्वेलरी हॉलमार्क होके आ जाएंगी तो हिंदुस्तान में किसी भी सिटी के अंदर हॉलमार्किंग सेंटर अफोर्डेबल नहीं रहेंगे. अगर वो अफोर्डेबल नहीं रहेंगे तो उस डिस्ट्रिक्ट में कभी भी हॉलमार्किंग होंगी नहीं. तो ये काफी सारी चीजें जिसके ऊपर the committee is going to discuss and they have to find out the solution.
Okay, so the fine print of that is going to be decided upon, but let's see where that goes. Thank you all for joining us with your thoughts on this episode. That's all we have for you on FYI today. Thanks so much.